Sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain, they hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places, but the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south, way on down south, London town. Check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords. But it's strictly rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. If any old guitar is all he can afford, when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky-tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. Sultans, we are the Sultans of Swing.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to the people that's got to stand outside, but due to the COVID restrictions, we're only allowed so many in the chapel. I do apologize. It is with great sadness we join together to farewell Luke and Achilles. I take this opportunity to welcome you all here. My name is Anita Bowden. I thank the family for giving me the honor of assisting them in this time of sorrow and express my deepest sympathy to both families. We gather here today to share our sympathy with the bereaved as we farewell our dear Luke and Achilles. I've got 4 candles lighting. This first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you is intense. It reminds us of the depth of our love for you. The light of this second candle represents our courage to confront our sorrow, to comfort each other, to change our lives. This third candle is a light to all of the memories of you, to the times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other, the silly things you did, the caring and the joy you gave us. This fourth candle is for our love. We have lit these candles that your light, which will always shine. We cherish the special places in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift your life brought to each one of us. We thank you for the years gone by. We thank you for the years ahead. Luke and Kelly has seen the cycle of life and death. May we all now see them for who they've been for each one of us. May their life be honored. May the memory of their love be a source of new love for all of us. May their family and friends remember the love that is theirs. They have arrived, dear Lord. May they be blessed. They would not want your hearts to be burdened with grief. They would want you to fill the empty space left by their passing with the presence of their love, perhaps with a smile and a thought for all the good and happy moments in their life. We must remember that those we love are never really gone. Luke and Achilles will live in the hearts of those who love them forever. It is worth remembering. Sadness comes out of caring and out of joy. Sadness, therefore, is a measure of love, and in a way, it's a privilege. Luke and Achilles, as you watch over those you love, I know when they listen to the ocean, the cool breeze caresses their cheek. It will be your spirit passing by. You are not gone forever. You are watching over your family and friends and guiding them towards a future they cannot predict. And now I'm going to call on Renee to come forward.
Thanks, everyone. It is a sad and humbling honour to say some final words today. As a family, we never said goodbye. We always said, see you soon. So, to my partner, my lover, my best friend Luke Matthew Aiken, and our masterpiece, amazing little boy Achilles Aiken, we will see you soon. In the natural order of life, a parent does not outlive their child. This is a tragedy and a pain reserved for a chosen few. For this, my heart goes out equally out to Luke's parents and any other parent who has ever or will ever experience this depth of despair. The greater the pain you bear, the greater the love has been. While it is natural for us all to mourn our loss, today is a day where in true Celtic fashion we must celebrate the lives of Achilles and Luke. Show the world what they meant to us and most importantly honour them by keeping them in our thoughts and cherishing the memories we have. Achilles and Luke leave behind a trail of broken hearts including Poppy Cotterill, Poppy Aiken, Nanny Annette, brothers Jaden, Will, Jake, sisters Bindi, Billy Lee, Courtney, uncles Nigel, Alan, Shane, Adam, aunties Bianca, Lynn, Kate and Francis. Luke and I spent more than a decade together in what could be sometimes described as a semi-volatile relationship, which happens when two strong characters are drawn together. People can be quick to judge from afar. Neither of us was without flaw, neither of us were perfect, and both of us knew it. But together we were inseparable, no matter the distance nor time spent apart. Achilles was our common bond together, and together Luke and I only ever showed him more than big love. His bold, big and beautiful spirit made us proud of the little man he was becoming. Everywhere we went, he would speak with people, attract people. Achilles made friends everywhere. So, to whoever was lucky enough to cross Achilles' path, his journey of life, you are all blessed. The people close to us know the mistakes we made in our lives, inspired us to strive and become better humans. Learning from our mistakes enabled us to pass on a unique wisdom to Achilles through the journey of life. We were so close to achieving the dream of a clean, healthy, productive life, and now the memories and what we had achieved together that we created are all that is left. To me, this is everything. Luke and Achilles will both live within me. I will see everything they can no longer see, and I will breathe the air they can no longer breathe. Luke was the most loving, doting father. He provided, protected, and was a leader and a teacher to Achilles the best way he knew how. Achilles walked this earth for 1,894 days. Every one of those days were a blessing. His first sleep, first yawn, first sound, first word, first step, first laugh, first cry are mine to treasure. Achilles lived a very active life with me especially. We did so much together, and when Luke wasn't working, we were always doing something together as a family. Achilles loved the beach, loved painting, loved hiding his father's tools after playing with them. Everyone that got the privilege of meeting our child Achilles knows he was a little champion. He was the smallest child at the skate park that every mother had their eye on. He used to ride his scooter off the biggest dips from the age of 2, and other mothers would ask me, "Is that your boy? He is so clever." I would reply, "Yes, that's my boy." Achilles and my father, in which he referred to as Poppy Cotterill, had a very special bond, sharing their love of cars. Every time we turned up to Pop's, he knew Pop always had something for him, and if Pop didn't give it to him, he would work out a way to sneak it in the car and take it home, or be nice until he got it. Achilles had a love unlike any other child for cars and bikes, anything that had wheels really. We used to collect Disney cars with the eyes as he would call them. I remember my brother Allan turning up to Dad's house in his fast car, and Achilles walked to the back of his car and said, "Oh, Mum, look at the pumps on that," meaning the exhaust. Luke used to laugh so hard with him at that. Achilles loved kicking a ball and loved his Auntie Kate's dog Mash. He loved walking the gardens with Auntie Kate, learning different things about nature. His love of horses was growing as Auntie Kate would take Achilles to feed and pat them, and had only just not long put him on a horse to teach him to ride. His favourite person to play with was Willie's brother. It's there he learnt to ride a scooter, play computer games, and loved turning the PlayStation off when Will was in the middle of a game. He loved playing Minecraft with Jaden and loved waking Jaden up by slamming through the bedroom door, saying cheekily on the top of his voice, "Good morning, Jaden." I even have memories of him chasing his sister Bindi with a prawn. Achilles spent time with Lynn, Taryn and Kai. Kai absolutely loved him, would roughen him up every time he saw him, although Taryn absolutely melted his heart. Taking him to the beach, bike riding, and bought him his first football outfit. He loved watching her on TV, and every time he would lose sight of her, I'd have to get off the lounge and point you out to him, Taryn. He made me. His favourite uncle was Uncle Brad. He would make jokes about his Woody doll out of Toy Story that it was Uncle Brad. Every time he turned up, he would walk up to Uncle Brad's front door and yell out, Uncle Brad, are you home, Uncle Brad?" They had a great bond together. Today, I wear navy blue, especially for you, Luke, because I know how much you disliked authority. Today is the last time I have the honour of representing you. Today, I'm representing not only you, although our little family. I have known Luke for 22 years. We have been together for close to a decade. When Luke and I first got together, I had engraved on the back of a gold watch, "My time is with you," because Luke, my time was always with you, no matter the distance nor time that we ever spent apart. Luke was a bad boy and I was a good girl. Our relationship was inseparable, amongst other things. So many people and life experiences wanted to divide us, although could never tear us apart. We always found our way to each other, no matter the cost, no matter the clause. Together we were one. With Achilles, we were inseparable. Luke had always said to me, "Renee, you and that boy are my world." I knew this when he came home with our names tattooed on him and a portrait of my face in the middle of his chest, writing on his heart. Having Luke as a partner, I got to experience with him so many things. He had insatiable curiosity with a lot of life experience in everything I knew nothing about. He opened up a whole new world for me, all of the good things and some bad. Luke was not short of charisma. To have someone like that open your eyes to so many, many things in a rock and roll way, in a lovable, humorous, amazing way, fulfilled me. Even when life was slightly on the wild side, he was always very tender with me. I was a precious little thing to him. So among the headiness and hard times, it was bittersweet. Luke was a man of his own right. He was loved and respected by so many high-profile people in his life. He would always help what he called his brothers and would always go for the underdog. Everyone who knew Luke knew he loved a two-ears new and a JD chaser, not to mention an ox. He had a love of making money the best way he knew how at any one time, even shared that too. He loved listening to Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, Australian Crawl, AC/DC, and together we listened to Lana Del Rey. One thing I know is he loved his food, his mother's cooking especially. We visited so many restaurants together. Luke would laugh his head off and literally want to hide under the table whilst I'm clicking my fingers for the waitress to hurry up and serve us. Luke loved his cologne, and after a while I worked it out, he had more toiletries and products than me. He always dressed well and smelt good. Luke was a confident man. My favourite memory of us together was when we were younger. Luke used to visit me on my father's property at South Tacoma. It was freezing cold this morning, and we got in the canoe, rowed across the river to get bread and milk, and on purpose I tipped the canoe. We were in hysterics with big jackets we had on, weighing us down, swallowing water. You lost your two mobile phones that were constantly ringing. We used to do so much together, so many adventures he took me on. I will miss you every night. I go to sleep. I'll have visions of myself dancing, laughing and crying with you. My memory of you is the only thing that will sustain me. My real only happy times, but upon a fortunate series of events, saw those dreams dashed and divided like a million stars in the night sky that I'll wish on over and over again, sparkling and broken, but I really won't mind because I knew that it takes getting everything you ever wanted and then losing it to know what true freedom really is. These are the memories I hold near and dear and close to my heart forever. In closing, I just want to share what a friend told me in hope it may bring some comfort to anyone else who needs it, because it brought comfort to me. He told me that there is a religious belief that children 11 years and younger who are taken through sickness or tragedy gain shade on Judgment Day and automatic entry into heaven. The mercy from above in a tragedy like this is the young are often taken to avoid the damage and pain of a worse situation that may lie ahead. I thank you all for attending, and may my my big man and my little man rest in peace, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Now I'm going to call on Michael, my co-worker, and he's going to read some memories from other family members.
Luke's mother, Annette, has put together a few insights about Luke and about Achilles. I'm just going to share them on her behalf. Luke was born in 1973, the third child of David and Annette, brother to Brad, Adam and Francis. He was a most delightful character throughout his younger development years, healthy, happy, with a grand and witty sense of humour, always respected with a strong sense of family connection and friendship. His sense of family and friendship were even more readily identified in his adult years, as he reflected on memories of good times with accurate recall of events and how much they meant to him. We did many trips down memory lane in the recent months. Many people would know Luke had a serious trampolining accident when he was 11, putting a stop to his sporting interest at the time. With his determination, it didn't hold him back for long. Some weeks later, his mum caught him riding a trail bike much too big for him, while still encased in plaster and splints. Luke certainly could be a scallywag, and at the same time had a strong sense of spirituality. In his last year of primary school, at his own admission, insisted on following through with making his first communion and confirmation. When he was 18, his grandfather died. Luke wanted to go to confession to enable him to receive communion at Pop's funeral. He told the priest it was so long since his last confession. The priest asked, "How long?" Luke replied, "When he made his first confession." Luke developed skills as a young teenager, having a natural ability at a variety of trades. Skilled tradies encouraged him as he took pride in a job well done. In relevance to his move to the South Coast, through satisfied customer recommendations, his business was really flourishing. The southern environment appealed to Luke, with work opportunities, and it was his intention to continue to reside down south with Achilles. A number of times Luke expressed that he had let his other children down throughout their early years, expressing that poor choices he had made that led him to be incarcerated across various years of his adulthood. He was determined, though, to turn his life around. Frances, Luke's sister, was so proud of him, identifying how responsible he had become, and she labelled him with Sadie the regular cleaning lady. Several female family acquaintances had also remarked on his cooking and his domestic skills, with one person calling him Mr. Omo, declaring his laundry was brighter than hers. Adam has now lost both of his brothers, of whom he loved immensely. Fortunately, he now has 6 sons, 5 grandsons, 2 granddaughters, with one on her way to help lessen the burden of loss. I can hear Brad saying to Luke, "Did you think I had rested enough?" bringing back memories of Luke receiving a portable record player one Christmas with Olivia's single, "Let's Get Physical." Luke then pestered Brad to sleep with him in the backyard in his newly acquired 2-man tent, and they played it continuously throughout the night. As Annette writes this eulogy, she says, "My mum has just passed away. While spending time with Mum this evening, I was able to reflect on how fortunate for all that they got to spend so much time together, and Achilles was the spirit of entertainment." Achilles was now Luke's main focus in life. Luke was so very proud of him. Luke did tend to spoil Achilles, and it was suggested that he undertake some parenting classes. Luke would ask, "Now where would I do that?" Undeniably, many will be crushed throughout life's entirety, not being able to connect with such vibrant personalities as Luke's and Achilles in this earthly world. We can only have faith that their beautiful spirits will be with us, and that their family and friends who have already passed will be shining lights showing them the way, with Matthew, Luke's eldest child, leading the parade. Thank you. I also have a message here from Aisha, Jacob's partner and Luke's daughter-in-law, on behalf of her family. Luke was always such a proud father and poppy. He always told me how proud he was of Jake, and how Jake was not just his son, but his best friend. I've been told when Jake was younger and Luke went out, Jake would chase his car down the street and Luke would then pick him up. Jake idolised his dad. When he was little, he would spend a lot of time tinkering around with Luke. Even now that Jake is older, he still idolised his dad. All boys do. They just don't like to admit it. One time Leo and I met Luke and Achilles at the play centre. Luke snuck out for a quick beer. While he was out, the kids' train was coming around. He knew he had to be there to watch Leo and Achilles on the train. So I rang him and he came running back within minutes, with his video camera ready, smiling and waving at the boys. Because he knew I was annoyed and I would get cranky if he missed it. He was always scared of me. Luke, you always had my back no matter what. You were my father-in-law and you always made me feel like your daughter. Leo loves his Poppy so much. He always walks around saying, Poppy Luke. When Jake and Leo went down to visit Luke on the south coast, I remember Jake ringing me to tell me Leo slept with Luke all night. It was the first time Leo had slept with anyone besides Mummy and Dad. At that time, I panicked and said that Luke could have rolled on him. And well, Luke's response was, can't roll over, I'm too fat. Luke had the loudest and funniest laugh that we will all miss hearing. Achilles was always so funny and cheeky, with an abundance of enthusiasm for life. Achilles had a huge love of cars and loved going to big school. He had the cutest little smile and laugh that we are all going to miss terribly. Achilles and Jake both loved and adored one another to the moon and back. No matter how much Leo and Achilles didn't like sharing their toys with one another, Leo loved his uncle Achilles with all his heart. Luke and Achilles, I promise I will always keep both of your memories alive in Leo. You have left a void in our hearts and will both be missed with great sadness. Rest in peace. And I have one more message here. It's been written by a mate of Luke, Gary Curtis. I'm just going to read it on his behalf. A quick word about Luke Aiken, aka Muddy. The bloke defined the word larrikin. He loved a beer and he loved a laugh. I met Luke 10 years ago in Kempsey. We had a lot in common, including a bad driving history. So we hung out, daily walks, and many daily laughs were shared, with the two of us making the best of a bad situation. He called me a few months later and we caught up. I met his girl Renee and his son, and life rolled on by. As I said, we have cars and bikes in common. Muddy loved a nice car and even more a nice bike, so we used to catch up regularly just to compare. The bloke lived life one day at a time, like all men that have had a hard go. Luke struggled with getting a job and sometimes with society in general, some days more than others. If you know Muddy, you know what I mean. A good bloke getting some hard setbacks. It happens to all of us at some stage, but Muddy, being Muddy, he would just roll with the blows and get on with it. Finally, they managed to get the roofing business going. Even then, life liked throwing little curveballs at the brother. So even when he was going forward, something was always a stress. But through all this, like any old school bloke, he held his head up and kept going. Then Achilles arrived, and a prouder bloke you've never met. Luke, living on the Goldie, meant I didn't see him as much anymore, but we have stayed in touch, even after I moved to the Philippines, with the odd messenger call and chat to catch up. This is the only one of these eulogies I've ever had to do, and I hope it's the last. A father and son together in eternity is the only positive that I can take from this. For Renee, the loss of her son is a sadness that cannot be understood until you experience it. Luke, brother, you lived life on the edge, mate. I hope you finally get some peace. Big guy, you will be missed by all of those that knew and loved you. You are gone but not forgotten. Rest in peace, brother.
And finally, I'm going to call on Megan Jeffries to come forward.
On behalf of Jake, Courtney Lee and Billy Lee, I'd just like to read the dad's eulogy. We remember our dad firstly and foremostly as a fun dad. From our earliest of memories with Dad, it involved fun. Dad would always think an adventure for us all to do because, no big secret, he was the biggest kid of us all. Dad would throw the canoe on the back of his truck to go to the river and say to us kids, "Jump on the back and hang on tight. It'll be right," he would laugh in true Dad style, and it always was more than right. It was fun, some scary corners, but fun. Dad would always be right beside us kids, be it in the waves at the beach, trying out all the playground equipment, thinking it was a BMX bandit on the push bikes, riding motorbikes and horses. Dad always joined in. Quite often, Dad would call from work, knocking off early and asking us to meet him at the water slides and go-karts for the afternoon. Being so young, we would take these afternoons for granted, not knowing the thought and effort to take us out after Dad had been working all day. Probably would have been rather down the pub, but he always put our fun at the top of his priorities. Dad was a proud man, a real masculine man, but he never let his pride come between a good picnic or tea party with us girls. Dad has awoken many times over the years with his fingernails painted. Dad could think of the most random things for us to do to keep us busy. In hindsight, it could have been just to keep us quiet. Dad bet Jake if you can get to the mailbox and back some 50 metres away walking the stepladder without touching your feet on the ground at all. He lost that day. Dad once said to Matthew, "I'll give you $10 per chin up." That Matt could do. Dad knew his money was safe that day also. Dad loved a beer or bourbon, and after a few of these one day, we asked Dad to get us a miniature horse as a pet. The next day, we assume after a few beers, he came home with a goat. Not quite the tiny horse we were expecting. We think Dad was happy for anything that would eat the grass, saving him mowing. This was Dad. He was random. Dad has brought us home all sorts of pets, horses, goats, chickens, wild birds, snakes, dogs, cats, and even a cow. No matter what animal it was, he always loved Dad's new pet additions, especially Matthew. Dad was a teenager when he started working for his dad. He always intended on following in his footsteps to become a plumber. But life sometimes steers you on a different path, and in 1994, when Matt was only 12 months old, Dad and his little family relocated to Queensland, and Dad started roofing with his eldest brother, Brad, who I'm sure he's having a beer with right now. In between moving to Queensland and back to the coast over the years, Jacob and Billy Lee joined the family. Then Dad and Brad started a roofing company together on the coast, and along come Courtney Lee, his baby girl. In early 2005, we all moved back to Queensland, where Dad started his own successful roofing business. Dad loved working for himself. He could be so much more flexible with his hours. Dad could take Jake sometimes, and he loved having Jake with him at work, instilling his work ethics onto Jake. Dad was a very hard worker and prided himself on this too. Dad was a great provider for his family, and we were spoilt. We had the usual toys and swings and trampolines, but we also had horses, motorbikes, buggies, and even the occasional paddock basher. We had a great childhood. We never knew the world could be so cruel until 2010 when we lost Matthew, Dad's firstborn, at 17 years old when he was tragically killed in a car accident. After our family lost Maddie, Dad became a shell of his former, vibrant, life-loving self. Our whole family changed forever, and we all tried to deal with our overwhelming grief. About 6 years ago, us girls and Dad became estranged due to us girls becoming young adults living our own lives and just complete different life choices. This doesn't mean we didn't all love each other more than anything. Jake and Dad always remained close throughout all the ups and downs. Dad loved hanging out with Jake. Jake has his own son also, Dad's first grandchild, and Dad was so proud to be Poppy Luke. Leo was also a nephew and a playmate for Dad's baby boy Achilles. Dad, we will always love you. We believe you and your two beautiful angel boys are now all together. This brings us peace. Love you, Dad.
Thank you, Meet. And now we're going to take a few moments to watch part of Luke's and Achilles' slideshow.
soul, so you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain. Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? How I wish you were here. We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. And have we found the same old fears? Wish you were here.
heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow skies, a blue dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, oh, way above the chimney tops. That's where you find me. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops, oh, way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. If happy little bluebirds fly above the rainbow wide, oh, I can't
And before we take Luke and Achilles to their final resting place at the cemetery, let's all bow our head together and say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but to deliver us from evil. Amen. And now we're going to continue the service at the cemetery, where we will lay Luke and Achilles to rest together. We'll have pallbearers come forward, first for Luke and then Achilles.
Cold cash divine, cashmere cologne, and white sunshine, red racing cars, sunset and vine. The kids were young and pretty. Where have you been? Where did you go? Those summer nights seem long ago. And so is the girl you used to call the Queen of New York City. But if you send for me, you know I'll come. And if you call for me, you know I'll run to you, I'll run to you, I'll run. I'll come to you, I'll come to you, I'll come. The power of youth is on my mind. Sunset, small town, I'm out of time. Will you still love me when I shine? From words but not from beauty. My father's love was always strong. My mother's glamour lives on and on. Yet still inside I felt alone, for reasons unknown to me. But if you send for me, you know I'll come. And if you call for me, you know I'll run to you, I'll run to you, I'll run. I'll come to you, I'll come to you, I'll come. And if you call, I'll run. If you change your mind, I'll come. Blue-eyed ranger, cold cash divine, cashmere cologne, and hot sunshine, red racing